everyone. Are you constantly looking at new ways to generate income for your NGO? Perhaps you're wondering about different models that are working around the world and wondering whether they could work for your community. Let's take a look at remittance matching of diaspora contributions and the impact it is having on individuals and communities right now. Hello everyone, I'm Louise from the Social Strategy Cafe and it's lovely to have you here. This channel provides tools and tips for strategically developing your non-profit, so it doesn't matter whether you run a charity, whether you run a social enterprise or you run an NGO. Remittances received from diaspora can provide an essential lifeline to households and communities. Although each individual remittance sent back to someone's country of origin may be small, the combined streams of these remittances can often exceed the total humanitarian or development aid that's received by that country. And according to the Danish Refugee Council, remittances are believed to directly touch the lives of 1 billion people around the world. But although remittance matching can filter large sums of money from migrants to their original countries, it becomes a turbocharged development engine when a multiplier effect is added. How does it work? Grab yourself a cuppa and let's take a look. In Mexico, the 3x1 model began as a grassroots initiative in the state of Zacatecas in the 1980s. The Clubes de Oriundos, or hometown associations, were formed in cities like Los Angeles and Chicago so that migrant populations could feel connected to each other and their home countries. Through this, they began pooling their money to fix perhaps a church roof or to pave a road in their home village. These migrant clubs began pressurizing the Zacatecas state government to help by matching their investments. Migrants argued that although they were not living in the country, they were still citizens who cared about their homeland. And in 1986, the state government agreed to a one-for-one model. In 1992, the programme was so popular and the projects it had funded were so visible to communities that the federal government wanted a part of it. So they joined in and offered a 2-for-1 match. Migrants $1, state government $1, federal government $1. 10 years later, the federal government officially launched the Programa 3x1 para Migrantes under the Secretariat of Social Development. This added a third layer by the municipal government. The reason for the project's long success was its governance structure. Every project had to be approved by a committee that included migrant representatives alongside government officials. This added a lot of transparency. And because the money went towards things that were really visible in the community, such as water pumps and school buses, it created a sense of pride and even competition between the villagers to see who could raise the most funds. The model has since become a global blueprint used by the United Nations and the World Bank to demonstrate how diasporas can act as formal development partners. But this model of remittances is not the only one that's worked. In Tajikistan, the Food and Agricultural Organization piloted a grant model for individuals rather than groups, as in Mexico. In this case, a migrant sends money home specifically to start an agricultural business, perhaps to buy a tractor. The Food and Agricultural Organization matches that with a grant, often of up to 50%, and also provides the necessary training. This has worked in shifting remittances from paying for consumption, items such as food and clothing, to production, such as starting a local business that can employ other members of the community. The Danish Refugee Council offers a different model which has worked well in countries affected by conflict, such as Somalia and Lebanon. In this case, say a refugee or returnee wants to start a business back in their home country. They are required to contribute 10% of the cost. But then they need to find a relative overseas to fund 40% of the cost as a remittance, and then 50% of the cost is covered by the Danish Refugee Council. This model ensures that the family has a stake in the success of the business, and it enables the Danish Refugee Council to fund double the number of businesses that they otherwise would be able to. There are now digital platforms that have got in on the game of remittances, such as World Remit and Remitly. These platforms facilitate easy transfer of money to their home countries and allow migrants to give directly to causes and charities at the time that they're sending money home. NGOs such as the Red Cross or local education funds have partnered with these apps so that the app users can be asked if they would like to donate $1 to a project in their home country or even village. Even some corporates are partnering with these apps and matching donations given within a specific time period. The app donation approach captures diaspora attention at the moment that they are thinking about their home country, and the migrant can trust that their money is going to a community or even their own family. And this type of remittance transfer means that the administrative cost of this type of aid is much cheaper than traditional international aid. In the Philippines, they have adapted the Mexican model to facilitate diaspora giving in an easier, safer and more strategic way. One of its programs is Linkapil, which acts as an intermediary in facilitating remittance donations. As many migrants were worried about local corruption or overzealous red tape at customs, the Linkapil programme solved this problem by vetting local NGOs, schools and hospitals that needed help. This intermediary service then presents these projects, such as supporting education or hospital services, or even people who have been affected by a natural disaster, to Filipino organisations overseas. Although the government doesn't match the donations, it offers support by ensuring that projects are completed and facilitates duty-free entry for donated goods. This helps to establish trust for the diaspora donors. El Salvador has one of the highest remittance to GDP ratios in the world. They adapted the Mexican model, but focused on education rather than physical infrastructure. Through the Edu-Remissa program, governments and NGOs are matching remittances specifically designed for education. So, if a migrant sent $100 to a student in their home village for education, through the program it would be matched with up to $300. So there are lots of ways remittances are being used to facilitate local development. Please let us all know if you're aware of any other positive programme in your area. Thank you to everyone for watching, and if you have an idea of a video you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments below. Have a great week, everyone.